Drum roll, please. Finally, we're getting to the speaker today. So Libby Lam is a children's storybook author and illustrator, and I will pass the mic to her to let her talk to you about Restart.
So good morning, everyone. Just this morning, my Facebook pops up my memories 9 years ago when I was speaking to a big hall of MBA students, sharing with them how my MBA program have set me up as a premier job candidate in the job market and how it helped me climb up the corporate ladder. There I stood. I had no idea that only 2 years later that I would quit my corporate job and pursue my childhood dream as a children's book artist. And this is my story on Restart. What you're seeing is a temporary settlement estate in Wong Tai Sin, Hong Kong in the 1970s. And I was born in one of the tiny cubicles in the building. And this building is actually built by the Hong Kong government to house the refugees flocked from China after the Second World War and at the beginning of the Cultural Revolution. A closer look of those buildings. We didn't have any water supply in the house, so we have to go out to the public area to fetch water and cook, and everything is done in public areas. And as you can see, my grandma, I was helping my grandma hanging up the laundry. She is in her pajama, day in, day out, in and out the house. So during that time, survival and security is what we're after, not privacy. So being the eldest in the family like this one, very early on in my life, I knew that I was expected to be the one to bring the family out of poverty. Not until I was 8 years old that I was given a first children's book that I can call my own. Before that is all hand-me-downs from my neighbors. And the book is called Hey Diddle Diddle. Barely understood any English back then. Instead of reading the text, I actually read every little detail of the illustrations on every page over and over again. Her eyelashes, the feather, the snowflakes make me daydream about everything. And from that point onward, I was deeply inspired to first learn English in order to understand the book and also to draw. But very soon, textbooks have replaced children's books as my daily reading because I have to get good grades in exam and get into good university and get a good job, bring home the money. So at the age of 17, I was given an offer from a reputable design school in Hong Kong, in the 1990s, and aspiring to be a designer. But I actually have to give it up because my family didn't want me to become a designer. They thought that designer wouldn't bring home any decent income. So I chose mainstream. I got into university, and then finished the first degree and 2 masters to follow. So 6 months after I graduated, I was already hired by a US consultancy firm, take on an expat package and launch into my first career. So starting from that point, I have been moving up for my family. And I used to pride myself being the youngest in the rank and always on a high potential track and and having promotion on a yearly basis. And to me, money is the answer to all my problems. It gave me wings to fly from poverty and it validated my capabilities. So during those 10 years, I've never drawn at all. But having said that, one of my bosses have commented that I got the special abilities to turn boring data, abstract data, into comprehensible diagram that tell a compelling story to the boardroom. So even though I haven't been drawing at all during those more than 10 years, art skill is still with me all the time. But that was one time when I finally stopped and reassess my life. That was the time when I had my first child. Holding a beautiful baby in my arms, I started to think, how can she find happiness? And then the answer is, if she can do what she loves to do for the entire life, that guarantee her a lifelong happiness. But how about me? Then I realized the job that I've been doing is only a learned behavior. I didn't really enjoy it much. And it is a learned behavior for me to, please the world, to earn a living. But what is my passion? Well, if I got the free time to read, I would never read anything related to my book, related to my job. And what did I read? I read art books, design books. So despite the fact that I haven't been drawing for so long, art is still my passion. And also as I have my try on the watercolor with my children, they drew so beautifully, and they were absolutely thrilled when they pick up the paintbrushes. So and then I realized that how come they draw so well if it is not from me? Because my husband didn't draw, it must be from me. And also as I dug up Hey Diddle Diddle, can you recognize it? So when I dig up Hey Diddle Diddle again, and I read to my children, the book amazed them as much as it had amazed me 30 years ago. So that was the time when I realized, a good children's book inspire generation to generation. It will never grow old. And to the child, it's not just a book, it's their childhood. So, but among all the hundreds of books that I've read to them, there are some ideas and messages that I feel so strongly about, but I couldn't find them on the shelves. So that was the time when I had the idea, maybe I should write and draw my own books. So now I have a new goal, new life goal in my mind instead of just making money. The first is I want to be a hands-on mom who could witness my children growing up. And at the same time, I want to draw them in my books and also share with them the messages that I feel so strongly about. So the green zone, being a modern artist, is where I belong. But writing is an easier transition for me because I have been writing in my job. But how about drawing? It's absolutely terrifying to pick up paintbrush again. I haven't been drawing for so long, right? So I have to make sure I stay focused and learn the skill, which means I have to quit my job. And is it possible? So of course there are some enablers. And among all the enablers, I'm very fortunate that health is also one of my enablers. So financial turned out to be the biggest enabler. It used to be a hindrance, but not anymore. After I've been working for more than 10 years, I've become financially secure enough to gift myself a sabbatical. As long as we have all the financing covered for the basic stuff like housing and education for our children, we're good to take a break or do something different. But there are also hindrances, and among all, I would say is my own ego. I used to have big title, office with a harbor view and a big company backing. But now I become a stay-home mom, and also to become a student to learn to draw. So to me, and it is such a big adjustment. And also, as I proudly announce my decision to leave the corporate world and to learn drawing, some of my friends actually responded, and one of them is actually CEO, and she said, "Oh, how nice, Libby! You can now live a tie life." For those who know tie means that they're sitting on the husband's fortune, right? And killing the time at the hair salon and high tea. It's no problem doing it, of course. But the thing is, I'm not a tie. I need to work harder to learn a new skill. And also I have a packed schedule and have fire to fight. I'm not a tie. So, but since the desire to really, for self-actualization is so strong that I was able to screen out all the noise and stay on course for my new goal. So as I looked around and see how can I make it happen, how can I scale up on drawing and writing my own children's books, there are best options available and also there are second best options. Based on my research, I truly believe that sketch that provide the top-notch education is my best option. But there are also some second best options like online courses or hobbies, drawing classes that I can go to that require less commitment. That makes me more flexible. But but the best option is the most effective way to get to my goal. So even though it's actually the hardest one. I have to make the maximal change in my life. I have to commit fully to the best option. Then I'm willing to work around my lifestyle to make it possible, and this is because I have that strong calling. So no second best option, don't waste my time, just go for the best. And also the discipline and the systems in a school environment actually make me thrive, even under deadline. It makes sure that I produce something decent in the shortest time possible in the most effective way. So I started with SCAD as part-time and also being a mom. So in 2 years' time, I turned around something I think is nice enough to submit to my two largest children's book publishers in Hong Kong. But they both turned me down. What they're saying is, Libby, Hong Kong is not a children's book market. It's a textbook market. Parents would spend loads of dollars just to spend on exercise books to scale up the grades, right? And also second is, Libby, your characters aren't cute. So go copy the Japanese manga style and to attract more readers. So hindrances grew, right? And these are the hindrances I had never foreseen at the onset of my studies. But at the same time, enablers grow too. For example, I feel more alive, I'm more energized, my kids are happy with what I'm drawing for them. And also, I had the support of the SCAD community. And also, most importantly, I skilled up from absolutely terrifying of drawing to drawing pretty well. So that kept me going for another 2 years. So I continue on the style that I want and work on the books with the help of SCAD and also with my children. And finally, I found a local publisher who's willing to invest in me. They are a very small publisher, but they have done a great job in publishing and distributing my book. So in 2015, I published my first book. It's the pink one, Checklist of Beauty. It's about specifically how one should focus on developing their talent and their uniqueness as opposed to outer beauty. And then the following year, I published my best friend, Sunny. It's actually a book about how a talented girl can still thrive in a family and society that favor boys. Very Asian concept. And lately, I just know that Turkey has the same issue about boys and girls, who's being preferred. And also, it is about how friendship can help you grow and how you should give back to the community. So with 2 books published and the support of my publisher, enablers grew, and also I have new readers for my books. But at the same time, hindrances grew too. It took me 4 years to finally get my book published, only to find that it's just the beginning of another difficult journey, is to reach out, to get myself known in the publishing world, to reach out to more publishers, readers, and sponsors. And of course, I will meet more rejections. And how can I survive those rejections? So first of all, I actually set myself some small goals to win as I'm heading towards big goal. So the big goal could be something like I want to get recognition from some international books award. But as I'm heading towards that could take me at least 10 years to accomplish. I have some small goals that I can celebrate wins along the way to keep myself motivated. For example, I really wish that the public libraries in Hong Kong would shelve my book, and just last month they've done that now. So I'm very happy and keep me moving. Oh, thank you. And also, it took us years of experience to develop a filtering system to screen out all the noises so that we can focus on what we're doing, right? But that filtering system and what I call the auto-delete function that may no longer take us to our advantage in a new field, but without a roadmap. Because now I'm entering a creative field and there's no roadmap to follow. And I always have to look out for new opportunities. But if I'm using the old filtering system, it will actually screen out real opportunities for me instead of noise. So because the funny thing about opportunity is, they would never come as a flashing light and say, read me first. They may dress themselves as junk mail, or silly idea that prompted you to delete it right away on your phone or in your brain. So it is very important that we have to reevaluate the auto delete function that we have using for all time. And also sometimes the opportunity doesn't sound feasible. For example, oh, we're not in Hong Kong for a certain event that promises some opportunities, or it is too expensive to afford. But other times that could be self-imposed auto-delete. So for example, let's take Creative Morning as an example. Had they not approached me to speak to you all today, it would never occur to me to approach them. Because first, they are community for the millennials, and I am the Gen X. But we're different, right? So thing is stereotype. And the other thing is, you are all tomorrow leaders and leaders in your field. How would you be interested in a mom, coping with a midlife crisis and new children's books? So thing is self-intimidation. So I always keep these three things in check to make sure that I grab every opportunity that can come my way. The other thing is I started to redefine success. Instead of looking at success as itself, which means how much money you make, how many awards you've won, how many followers you have, we should also focus on developing the qualities of success. For example, are you working in your element? Are you exploring your potential for growth? Are you making something that you're extremely proud of and your family is proud of? And are you responding positively to criticism and make it into measurable improvement? And are you turning hindrance into enablers to make your restart journey possible? So just last year, I published my third book, Crispy Children. It's actually studying why normal people turn evil. Very, very scary title. And also why you need to follow your conscience. It started off with a happy farmer, self-sufficient farmer who has his crop ruined overnight. So he started to starve. To fill up his empty stomach, he has to look for a job, but he met multiple rejections just like what I've gone through. But then, luckily, finally, he landed a job that he thinks is very simple, to be a kitchen helper. So what he needs to do is just to gather the ingredients for the meals that the master of the house has ordered. So he thinks, oh, I can do it. I can fill my empty stomach by doing it. But to his dismay, the master of the house actually ordered crispy children, which means that he has to fetch children as the ingredients. So he was shaking and he was asking, is it a misunderstanding? And immediately he got told off. On the left, you can see that the chef saying, this is the hierarchy and you're on the bottom of it. Very corporate. And, and I'm only in the middle management. We all have to listen to authority, the master of the house. So you either do the job or you leave this place and starve. So without a choice, he went down to different places and tried to, fetch the ingredients. But he couldn't. There's multiple opportunities that came the perfect moment. He couldn't really do it. His heart's calling him, no, stop him from doing it. So empty-handed, he went back, and of course he got told off again. This time he said he was being threatened. If you couldn't fetch the ingredients by sunset, you will be the ingredients. So he had to go down again to do his job, and finally he got the perfect chance because there's a lost child crying in tears looking for the mother. This is the best time that he can fulfill his job and fill his empty stomach. Will he do it, and will he not? So you'll continue reading the story. It actually took me long hours to finish Crispy Children as it had took me long hours to finish the other books. But how can I survive those long hours? It was like, I always have this little fantasy that I have. It is not true, but it's a fantasy, that Crispy Children may not be sold internationally. there's only maybe a small group of readers would have read Crispy Children's. But among those readers, they may grow up into, some of them may grow up into, in a job that they found themselves sitting on a chair with a finger hovering a switch. So when they press, they send a bomb to the enemy country. So, but because they have read Crispy Children, so they will think twice if they should listen and obey the order. So that is my fantasy that keep me going and survive those long hours. And it goes back to my mission statement, is to make the world a better place to live one book at a time, and I really truly believe and always stay true to it. So with 3 books on the shelf, I'm very happy. And also I try to take my books to the next level by collaborating with charities for fundraising purposes. Okay, so now we have seen this chart many times, but maybe we shouldn't be representing enablers and hindrances in a bar chart format. Maybe we should see it as a seesaw. So, can you see that? Yeah. So I think we have to think about how we can turn the hindrances into enablers and make our restart journey a successful one. Thank you.
Thank you, Libby. I'm going to ask you to stay up here. So we can do a bit of Q&A. I know we're a little bit behind, but if you need to go, no problem. So let's start off. Anyone with a question? Oh, right off the bat. Nice. Usually have to rally people.
Hello, Libby.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Hal.
Hi, Hal.
I'm currently a CUHK master's student, and I'm also working in the field of early childhood education, so I find our topic really fascinating.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. When you're doing your creation, there's always a gap between the creator and the reader, especially for children who has less reading ability, right? It's hard for them to understand certain things. Every pictures, every details of your creation might have implication of your adult's world,
Yes.
like what you displayed earlier. So how would you keep that balance while you can let them understand your perspectives, make it educational, informational, while he can understand and not being overwhelming or certain things, just might be too early for them to understand?
Yeah, it's a great question, Hal. But it's actually, I'm very fortunate. I had a psychology degree, actually 2. So I actually use a very structured way to do it. I use focus groups, and the focus group actually held in my home. I have 2 daughters, and actually they have friends. So they have boys and girls friends, and they came over, and because they are my target readers, my target reader is from 4 to 10. So within that range, from the beginning of the manuscript, I start with the manuscript before I come up with the storyboard and the images. It's actually take different steps. So actually, at the beginning of the manuscript, I already have my girls, and by the way, they came up with the title Crispy Children. They think it's very funny. But it sounds very scary. And they had this, and then I actually pass it to their friends, a small group of friends to begin, and then I have the storyboard. The storyboard is more like myself, but when it comes to the actual visual, the coloring and the rendering stage, once it's completed, I have younger friends like 5-year-old, and I have older friends like 9 years old, boys and girls, different gender. Especially Crispy Children is for both gender, not like the other 2 is more on the girls. So along the way, I'm actually using what I've learned in psychology in doing research, but in a children's book context to make sure that it's balanced. And also I have grown-up readers to read by my husband, my friends, to see that the change in the eyebrows actually mean a lot to the children, but not as much as to the adults. So I have that hopefully covered in the whole process. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Riju, and I'm new to Hong Kong, and
Welcome.
I came here to the Creative Morning just because of you, Ms. Libby.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because I read the title was Restart, and then there was the books that you were writing, and we had this in the Instagram that what was the topic about. So I had started working here in Hong Kong after 10 years, and I was not able to work in my home country, that's India. So I have a 10-year-old kid now, and he had some problems with reading, writing, and initially as a parent to take it that, oh, my son has a problem, that ego was there, no, my son doesn't have a problem. So we went to a counselor and we started listening that, okay, these are the problems and how can we curb it. So reading was the first thing, and the expression that we give to our children by raising eyebrows or by telling them, oh, why not reading? So I read all about it, and then I did this phonics certification to know that how should I make him learn that what he's not able to do.
Mm-hmm.
To my sadness, coming to Hong Kong, and I see that many of children here also are having same problems, that's of reading and writing. And my heart really fell apart seeing children, they are able to structure it in their minds, but they're not able to speak it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think your storybooks and the details that you have just shown us, and I'm very happy that I could structure it in my curriculum and ask them to learn and read. So I think most of your part of your lifestyle thus matches to mine and my childhood. So I'm completely thrilled to be here. I have no questions for you because exactly, because it's like you were running through your slides and it was like, oh, it's my journey going on.
Yeah.
And I feel very happy coming here and meeting so many creative people, and especially listening to your story. And I was completely there. Oh, it's mine or it's yours.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
exactly.
so there's
We're
so
ordinary
much,
people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there is so much that I want to do, but I'm not able to, circle it around me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really thrilled and very happy to go through your journey.
Oh, thank you very much. Now as we have some experts in teaching children to read. Yeah.
Do we last questions? No. Going up? Okay.
Hi.
I've never spoken into a mic, so this is a celebration moment for me as well.
Thank you.
It's a bit personal, Libby, but I've got a daughter. She's just under 3, and she is just starting to go mental on the fairy and princess phase. Starting
Same.
with the glitter and the costumes. Well, it's actual dresses, but she calls them costumes, luckily. How and when is the best way to get out of it and to something that is a bit more meaningful, like your books?
Well, I'm not a child expert. I'm a children's book. I mean, I can only talk from my own experience, but not from trained. Yeah, but I think usually it's the peers pressure actually that happens, and it depends on the child. If they're surrounded by children that think that, oh, the princess phase, I'm done with it, they will quickly change. So it's really, I think it's the peers to the problem. And I think as a parent, I used to give them different kind of books other than princesses. Of course, they would say, oh, I love princesses. But you need to really catch the moments that they have the attention span. And for me, it's when they are in the washroom. So they are the most open-minded moment for them. They are open to anything. So to grab those moments, you read a story as if you're singing a song on a stage that you're performing, and really move them with your emotions. They will buy it. But again, we have some expert on the floor, so you can chat with them too. Yes.
All right, last question.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It was really inspirational. My question was, how do you select which topics that you want to write about for children, and what future topics do you have in mind that might come out in your future books?
Okay, thank you. Because I have a psychology background, and I'm very true to positive psychology that is about confidence, about gratitude, and I actually didn't really select consciously about which topic. It's something that I feel so strongly about, like the girls' empowerment part, because I have girls, and also why normal people turn bad. And actually it's actually very adult theme, but as I see young child, they started to have those behaviors, as we have seen read from the Law of the Flies, that, and also, for example, they would grab somebody's lollipop without parents' oversight, or maybe you come to you are new to this place, so you have to listen to me. You know, a 3-year-old, they would say that. So there's many temptations every day, and I think that is important for the parents to start talking about why you have to listen to your conscience, and you have the heart to calling you no. So this is something I truly believe in. I chose the topic without consciously. This is what I love, and I do it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Libby. Last round of applause, please.